As you know, there's one thing that I like more than anything else, and that's facts. And when it comes to your 1403rd stimulus check, there's been a lot of untrue folklore, conjecture, and untrue statements about your 1403rd stimulus check since Friday at least. They've come from everything from the narrative that no one gets a stimulus check until March 17th, untrue, that if you owe a cell phone bill from 3 years ago or a water bill from 20 years ago, that someone's going to come and take your stimulus check away from you, also untrue. And that if you are on SSI or SSDI, your stimulus checks are being held up for last. Just really untrue. And while I wasn't expecting to do this recording, in this recording, I'm going to go over true and false of all the urban legends that have surfaced in just 48 hours. Can you imagine how many have there been? Since the stimulus checks have been sent out, I'll be going over the true and false of each item you have heard about your $14 stimulus check by direct deposit and also by paper check. On this massive, big recording, you need to stay to the very end on Noontime LALATE. It's always one of those moments where we reach the epiphany of celebration, getting a stimulus check. And the minute something good happens, there's always someone that has something negative to say. And it was literally like clockwork. As soon as $1,400 third stimulus checks started landing in direct deposit bank accounts on Friday, the minute that the great news was happening, there was this sea of negativity starting. And I thought, okay, just let it slide because it's so ridiculously untrue. But it continued to build and build, not just here, but everywhere else. So with that, we're taking our chapstick and we're wiping it clean. We're taking our toast and we're toasting a little bit darker because we're killing all those fake narratives in this video. The first, hit the subscribe button. Also like this video. And do me a favor, if you listen to this video, which I assume you do, to the very end, and you hear all the details of this video, the next time you hear someone else repeat the fake narrative, slam them back with the truth. Because this is the truth starting right now. Thank you, Sean. Oh, congratulations. Sean just got his check. So I'm going to start with Sean because he's the best example. In the video right before this, one of the subscribers, actually one of the Purple Hawks, who I actually really like, a very wonderful viewer, dropped in the comments right as the video was about to end, so I couldn't say it on air, that no one gets their stimulus check before March 17th. Now, while this is a subscriber, I guess it's not someone who's been watching today's and yesterday's videos, because I have said there have been hundreds of viewers who have gotten their stimulus check on Friday, and hundreds who got it today, and hundreds who got it yesterday. So, fake narrative let's do true or false. You know what I'm going to do? Let's do this interactive. I'm going to say the statement, and then I'm going to ask for your response. I know there is a slight delay of about 4 seconds on between when I say something and when you post the comment, but let's do it this way. True or false? No one gets a stimulus check before March 17th. True or false? Let's see what the responses are. Needless to say, it's false. The stimulus checks started landing in bank accounts on Friday. They started landing in bank accounts on Saturday. They landed in bank accounts of big banks, commercial banks, credit unions, application banks. Absolutely false. It is false. Very well said, Peggy and Danielle. It's absolutely false. Next, the effective date of the stimulus check is a reason why the stimulus check will be held. No, that's too complicated to start. Let me start a little easier first. Big banks are getting the stimulus check later than smaller banks. True or false? Are big banks that are waiting to give the stimulus check next week later because they haven't gotten it? True or false? It's actually false. They do have the funds. They're just not releasing it as soon as other banks are. All banks got the funds at the same time. They're just choosing to release the funds at a different time. The big banks are trying to do this narrative that, oh, we don't have the funds until March 17th. They have the funds. They're just not releasing them to March 17th, which is a very big difference than that. Next, the fact that you hear this March 17th date from your big bank means that the funds will be available for you to withdraw on March 17th. True or false? This one's actually a hard question. The answer is we don't know. The big banks who said that the funds will be available on March 17th, we don't know if they'll still be pending for March 17th or actually available to withdraw on March 17th. All right, let's go to the bigger and more controversial true or false questions. If you owe a cell phone bill from a bad cell phone company from 10 years ago for $24.92, is that a garnishment? True or false? The answer is no, it's not a garnishment. It's a bill that you didn't pay. There's a difference between a bill you didn't pay and the word garnishment. I think in the last 48 hours, I've seen the word garnishment on more videos and more chats than I care to see in a lifetime. People are just using the word as though they know what the word means. If you didn't pay your cell phone bill 10 years ago from that horrible cell phone company you got rid of, and it just sits there for $42, that is not a garnishment. It's a bill you didn't pay. It is a debt, a disputable debt if you didn't like their service, but it's not a garnishment. And people have been using this word as though it's to create, no, here's my opinion of the situation. My opinion of the situation is of a lot of very negative, very unhappy people who are using the word garnishment to scare people. And I think they're enjoying going into some of the chat and scaring you. I've seen more people who are not members of this channel going into chats and scaring people saying, if you owe an old cell phone bill, they're going to take your check because you didn't pay that cell phone bill 20 years ago. It's so ridiculously stupid. It's insanely inaccurate. Here's another example. Let's say you currently have a cell phone company and you're late a month on the bill, on the cell phone bill. And, you forgot to pay last week, and so you're behind $30 by 2 weeks. Is the cell phone company you currently having a bill that's 3 weeks late going to come and take your stimulus check? No. Also untrue. It's literally untrue. It's so ridiculously untrue, but there are a lot of people creating a lot of, I think, personal enjoyment by going into the comments and scaring the bejesus out of people with this. Delea, thank you for thank you for becoming a purple hawk. It's ridiculously false. All right, let's go to another question, which is actually a little bit more elaborate. If you have a bill with a cell phone company you did not pay, can they get access to your bank account? No. If all it is an unpaid bill, absolutely no. They don't have access in your bank account. And it's the fact that you didn't pay someone a bill 10 years ago doesn't mean they have access in your bank account. It's sort of an obvious situation, but for some people, they think that these people outside there have access inside of your life. It's not true as well. Finally, the most surprising detail, which I don't realize why people don't understand this, is that even the people who want to use the word garnishment, a bank garnishment is literally a garnishment of a bank account. Well, if you are actually watching videos about bank garnishment and you have an account that is garnished, then why would you give that bank account to the IRS for direct deposit? It doesn't make very good sense, does it? It doesn't make good sense. If you already have an account that has a garnishment against it, then why would you want direct deposit of a stimulus check? Yeah, so suddenly you see why people who not only don't understand the situation are trying to scare you with fake information, and the people who do know the correct information actually wouldn't even be discussing this in the first place. Let me turn to some of your questions, because I want to see some of your reactions. And thank you, brother Joshua, for the super chat. Uh, it's just when the stimulus check hit my bank, I have to wait a week until it hit my account. No, that's not true. So the longest a bank can usually hold a direct deposit is about a day or two, or the longest I have seen is is maybe 3 days if it's a massive deposit. But no, $1,400. They are not holding a $1,400 stimulus check for a week to clear. That is not true. So if you're on disability, you don't get your stimulus until the 17th. Okay, so that's a good question. So someone is asking, is it true if you're on disability, you're not getting a stimulus check to the 17th? Let me go find my camera. Here I am. Untrue. So there is nothing for. Let me repeat it as the viewer asked it. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, is your stimulus check being held up to the 17th? No, not because you're on SSI or SSDI. Maybe it's being held up because of who you bank with. But just because you're on disabilities, your stimulus check is not being held to the 17th because you're on disabilities. It may be held because you bank with some of the big banks who have decided to hold the stimulus check to the 17th. But that's a great question. Thank you for clearing this up for me, says Sonia. Can you get help with mortgages if you got a little bit of second stimulus? Yes, absolutely. Can we use the big banks for holding our checks? I don't understand that question. Did any of the other third stimulus check things go live yet? Jeffrey, that's a great question, Jeffrey. No, they have not gone live yet. Can I give a different bank account? Someone asked. No, it is too late to update IRS with a different bank account in the situation. Let's see what other questions I missed. 4 of us get a stimulus. I'm on SSDI. Friday, everyone got theirs, but got theirs, but me, and theirs go in my account. It's SSI. Is it coming later this week? So again, this may, if you're referring to everyone else in different households, meaning they're just friends of yours, then it just depends on who you bank with. If you're referring to everyone in the same household, meaning, everyone else in our household, my husband got his check, my child got my check, but I didn't get my check, that's a cause for concern. But if you're not in the same household, not a concern. But great question as well for that one, as disability. I didn't get mine, but LA makes me laugh. Oh my goodness. My check says they'll let me know the deposit date. What is up with that? That is really unclear. I think what the viewer is saying, if I interpret the words right, is a viewer, when they sign into their bank portal, it shows pending, but it doesn't say what day. That is normal. That is totally normal. So when someone sends you an electronic transfer of funds, it will say pending. And until it's cleared, it will say pending. An example of that, if you've never watched your bank account online profile like a hawk, if you go online and purchase something from a retailer, it will show pending as a pending transaction. And then when it posts, it will post. Post means the funds were withdrawn or the funds were deposited. So when things are pending, they don't tell you when they're available. Now, here's something I've not said on this channel yet until right now. It just dawned on me, is that sometimes banks know when something goes from pending to not pending. Here's an example. If I was to send you a check and it showed pending, you could potentially call on your portal. It shows pending. You can call up your bank and ask them over the phone, I have a deposit pending from LALATE. When will it clear? They generally can tell you over the phone what day it will clear. So as that viewer who shows something pending, you may be able to call them up and ask what day will it clear. Moreover, if you've gotten things pending before from your bank, you can figure out when this will clear. How do I explain that? That's very simple. If you generally get direct deposit payments of something, and they usually show pending for one day and then clear the next day, then the stimulus check will go the same way. basically your bank does a 1-day pending to a 1-day clear. This check would be no different. It's not a big number amount that they would do it any longer. That's also a really good question. I'm loving these questions. My mom received her first 2 payments and lives on SSI, and the IRS says payment status not available. Does that mean she's not getting a third stimulus check? No. So that's a great question. That, of course, is something I've mentioned about 9,000 times on this channel, but I'll continue to mention because it's very important. The payment not available status is a result of a bad IRS tool. The IRS track my stimulus check tool doesn't work. The transcript IRS tool doesn't work. And what I mean by doesn't work is that when it has no information for you, people assume they're not getting a stimulus check because it says no information. Also, when it shows a date, that freaks out other people because they say, oh, my God, the date was a week ago. I haven't gotten anything. It must have been lost in the mail. Translation, it doesn't work, the tool. It's a very unreliable tool, but that's a great question. There you go. I received mine and my son's on Wednesday on our card. That's how I got my refund too. Yes, Ashley. So great question. So if you receive do your taxes through an online preparer, then it may appear on things called their respective cards. A lot of these tax preparers have a card for that. That was a great question. Any other questions you have? I'm answering them on the screen. Do minors get SSI stimulus checks? I think what the viewer is asking is, if you are on SSI, does your child get a stimulus check as well? Yes, providing that IRS knows that your child exists. Now, if the question is my child is on SSI, then that's an easier bet. Yes, if the IRS knows the child exists because they're paying them benefits on a monthly basis, so they will get a stimulus check as well. That is also a really great question. One person, Tim, keeps on spamming the comments, and his comment is incorrect, but I'll let it sit there so you can see that comment. It's actually an incorrect comment. Let's see, any other great questions? I got the no info also. Someone went to the IRS tracking tool and got the no info also. What about paper checks? When will we receive them? Angela. So that's a great question. The paper checks, we don't have a lot of clarity about. We've heard words like later this coming week or in the next few days. I don't have anything very clear for you. So nothing where I can say it's landing on this particular date, but it looks like it's going out in the next few days. I get a notification when I receive it. Are they working on fourth stimulus? They are working on fourth stimulus. That was in the video before this. They should concentrate on sending out the paper checks first. I just hope they have these paper checks better under control than they had with the last stimulus package, because there was a lot of confusion. Dr. Amy, drop the comment again. I didn't see the question. So drop the question again. If you don't have a bank account where you get a stimulus check, you will get it by paper check then. That's a great question. When will SSI get the stimulus check? It's dependent upon who you bank with, not dependent upon the fact that you're on SSI. The Direct Express, a lot of viewers have said that Direct Express does not clear funds on weekends. So that's why you may not see a deposit this weekend. Do you get $3,600 of child tax credit if your income is UI and PUA? The $3,600 of child tax credit has nothing to do with income. You just have to make less than $75,000 a year. And let me cut back to where I am. Here we are. So far in this recording, we have gone over a lot of great questions that viewers have had, and I've answered some of the fake narratives and some of the true facts. Let's go over them again. First, true or false, are no stimulus checks land in bank accounts until March 17th? Very untrue. Viewers started receiving stimulus checks on this channel on Friday. They got more on Saturday, and more of them will start arriving on Monday, which is certainly before March 17th. Second fake narrative, that no one on SSI and SSI is getting a stimulus check until everyone else does. Also untrue. Your receipt of your stimulus check has nothing to do with whether you're on SSI or SSDI. It has to do with who your bank is. Third, the banks that tell you that that the funds will be available the 17th or the 18th, does that mean that the funds are actually withdrawable on those days? We don't know. And lastly, the most common question that viewers have been saying is that if you owe a phone bill from 10 years ago from a bad cell phone company you got rid of, and they just send you a bill every 10 years, say, hi, you didn't pay $24. Can they come and take your check, your stimulus check? No, that is not the concept of what people have been talking about. People have been dropping in the comments that if you owe some bill from someone you do business with or used to do business with, or even if you haven't paid your gas bill this month for $10 and you're behind 2 weeks on the gas bill, that the gas company is going to come in and take your stimulus check. Untrue. It's absolutely untrue. Needless to say. Hopefully you have learned with this video, and that when you hear these details, you can repeat them to someone else. Finally, earlier today I said, and I said in this video as well, the IRS tracking tools are not reliable. So if you go to track your stimulus check on irs.gov and it shows no information, that does not mean you're not getting a stimulus check. It does not mean your stimulus check is lost. It means their website doesn't work. It's traditionally not worked. And no matter how often it doesn't work, people are told to go use it and never told that it doesn't work, which is not particularly good. Also, their transcript function also doesn't work. The net result is the following. Either viewers see no information and freak out because there's no information, or they see a date in the past and they're worried too many days have passed and they don't see a stimulus check. The net result is if you see information that's beneficial for you, great. But likely it is not a beneficial website. Most of the time it doesn't give you helpful information. Are people on SSI having to wait to the 17th to get the stimulus check? That's a different question. No, that the 17th is a date that has been chosen by certain big banks. It has nothing to do with the fact that you are on Social Security or SSI. Do you think the fourth stimulus package will have stimulus checks in it? Yes, absolutely. Are people on SSI getting it on the 17th, the $14? People on SSI have already gotten the stimulus check that are viewers of this channel. Countless viewers who are on SSI got the stimulus check on Friday. More got on Saturday, and more will get them on Monday. But it just depends on who you do business with. But I love these questions. I was a dependent 2 times, but then I filed my own tax return for 2020. So this is also a really good question. The people are referring to their 2020 tax return as the reason that maybe their stimulus check situation may be different. Let me answer it this way, because this is a really great question to end with. Thank you for that great question. If you filed your 2020 tax return and it shows processing, it ain't going to help at all for anything. If it shows that it has been processed, we still don't know yet if that has helped anyone get their stimulus check fixed for this round. It's too early to know. I've not received a single message from anyone who said, I filed a 2020 tax return, I updated my bank account information, I changed things, and everything worked out right. I got my stimulus check right. I haven't heard one message that said that yet. Maybe it does. Let's hope it does. But we certainly know if your 2020 tax return is pending, it's not going to fix anything that needed to be fixed because they haven't seen it yet. Across the land, millions of Americans are waiting for that $14 stimulus check to land in their bank account. And along with that wait, that has caused a lot of folklore, a lot of fake narratives, a lot of in what I would call people trying to make other people unhappy, people trying to make people scared. And people enjoy scaring other people. And while this is not a negative channel, it's also a channel that really doesn't like people spreading fake rumors. And those fake rumors have really gotten out of control, not just here, but I see it on social media. Do you think the fourth stimulus package will have anything for SSI and SSDI? I don't know. I hope it does, but I think it will have stimulus checks for you that you will really like. How about if you didn't work in 2020? Would you get a $14 stimulus check? Oh, that's a great question. Remember, yes, the answer is yes. You get a stimulus check so long as you made less than $75,000 and the IRS knows where you are and you're not dependent on someone's tax return and you have a social security number. Yes, you're getting a stimulus check. So that's a very great question. Thank you for joining me on a big noontime broadcast of LALATE. I'm glad we did this. There was a lot of questions across the board that people were really hunkering down with and getting into a web of confusion. The promise that I hope you make to me is the following, that when you jump into the next live video and you see someone saying something untrue, which you now know is incorrect, tell the person the correct information. Tell them the real facts. And that's what I want you to do. So if you see someone jump into the next video and say, I'm on SSI, is it true the stimulus check is being held to the 17th? Tell them that's not true. If you see someone jump in the comments and say, oh, you owe a phone bill, they're going to take your stimulus check. No, jump in the comments and tell them that's also untrue. Help by sharing information, because the more that people get correct information, the more better we are off as a family. When do we get our stimulus checks is the last question for a person. The stimulus checks, thank you, Desby, for the super chat. Viewers started receiving the stimulus check on Friday, more got them on Saturday, and more will get them on Monday. Dr. Amy, well, Dr. Amy, I haven't seen your comment. All I've seen is you haven't answered my question 3 times in a row. So if... Is it too late to claim my son's dependent check? I didn't log him in. He's 21 in college. Okay, so if you want to get that 21-year-old a $1,400 third stimulus check and you've never declared him as a dependent, then it is too late for this round. You can do an amended tax return and then request the stimulus check, or he can be a sole filer and he can request the missing stimulus check. But it's absolutely positively too late to fix anything for direct deposit. It's in fact almost too late for people who filed in late February to fix as well. Thank you for the great questions. And if you've not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you for the great questions. And I'll see you this afternoon as Afternoons LALATE returns in about 20 minutes. Stay of LA for more.
From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE. From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica.